My name is Danswa, and I'm here with another article. It's called I Hate Baking, But Never Say Never. By the way, I own a beautiful cake bakery in beautiful Zurich, Switzerland, and we make the most gorgeous cakes. Check them out at www.thecakelady.ch. So, time for a Sunday confession that you might not want to hear if you admire me and what I do. I hate baking. Yes, my name is Danswa. I own a cake bakery and I hate baking. Every startup book tells you that as soon as you can afford it, you should delegate your least favorite tasks. And that task for me is baking. Baking for me is like surviving all those mandatory prerequisite courses before you get to what you actually wanted to study in university. It's like the hazing before the frat parties. It's drinking lots of water and moisturizing before applying the makeup. It's the working out and eating right before slipping perfectly into that sexy swimsuit. It's the arduous engineering of a building before placing the opulent accent fixtures that bring the place to life. It's the market research to leafing through history, the focus groups, and reviewing the mission statement before preparing the advertisement for a new product. I digress, but I think you get the point. I hate baking, which is why I break into hysterical laughter when journalists, followers, and others ask me as a first question, "What's your favorite thing to bake?" Nothing. I chuckle through a smile. Then comes a perplexed look, confusion, thoughts. I see the smoke rising with those thoughts, but I frankly don't know what they're thinking about. Then, what is your favorite flavor? They ask in an attempt to skirt the awkward silence. Chocolate. Death by chocolate, actually. And we're back on track. Note to reader. Don't ever look for a professionally written and heavily insightful article from me. It's not coming. I do anecdotes, and at the end comes a lesson. Grammar won't be perfect, and I curse. If that's not your thing, stop reading, stop following. Just forget my name, and thank you. So let me tell you, number 1, what I do like. Number 2, why I hate baking. And 3, why the 2 and an indefinite stay in Switzerland have brought me to a beautiful crossroads. Number 1, what I do like is cooking. I love the process of taking something plain and making it into something fabulous. I love starting with the basic recipe, stirring, tasting, adding, folding, tasting, whipping, tasting, combining techniques, and ending up with something. It's a creation of my own. It nurtures the creator and the artist inside me and nourishes the family and friends around me. Food is my most natural display of affection. Number 2, why I hate baking. It's because I hate rules, precision, or any form of restriction, actually. You see, I'm a Gemini, and generally speaking, Geminis are a fire that you can only hope to contain. It's a trait that I've come to embrace, but it's not the perfect pairing for any career or hobby rooted in such scientific structure. I've always found precision and rules to be a burden. Step 1, bake a recipe, and it requires this percent of that, and this percent of this, blah, blah, blah. It's like being back in chemistry class. I tried everything to get around baking, but those damn rules are my nemesis. After a while, I exhausted so many options unsuccessfully that I was forced to give baking a try. I mean, not just whipping something up, but having to find joy in something I hate. So, my first attempt was in following a few recipes to make something that I hadn't ever tried from scratch. That was okay, but kind of boring. Following someone else's instructions was boring, particularly because I didn't know how to make it my own. Because I could ruin the fluffiness or texture, for example. Aha! I shouted to myself, I need to learn the rules of baking. I dove into my book on food and cooking by Harold McGee, you gotta check it out, and began reading 60-page chapters on the science of eggs, dairy, food and grains, mixing techniques, and recipe ratios. I was loving it. How could I have not seen that learning the rules would actually set me free? Now it was time to get creative, but we'll come back to that after point 3. 3. Why these 2 factors plus a stay in Switzerland have brought me to a beautiful crossroads is an interesting life lesson. Everyone knows the phrase Swiss quality, but what you might not know is that it's not just marketing jargon. From watches to chocolates to seamlessly paved city streets and the train tracks that you can eat off of. The country is perfect on the surface. It's all pretty insane to a California girl who prefers places like Los Angeles, New York, Valencia, London, and Paris. So much of Swiss culture is centered around perfection that it's nearly impossible not to be affected. It was only when I began taking my business seriously that I learned the value of precision, rules, and consistency so vital to Swiss around me. Consistency creates expectations, and in a roundabout way, it creates opportunities. I love the freedom of creativity and the rush it gives me. But without consistency, opportunities for that rush are not really that abundant. I got into cake design by accident because I loved working with my hands. I love the artistic side, and it all happened to deal with food, which I love. The challenge to me has always been in tackling the fear of something I'm not great at. Rules and precision. So there you have it. Hate, which actually stems from fear, has always been the barrier for me. And championing that fear has brought me to a new level. So now for that recipe. I finally got the rules down, and by this time I had spent so much time following rules that reading the book gave me an epiphanic wealth of knowledge, with my newly earned confidence, I decided to get started with an unlikely ingredient, orange pumpkin. I'm the kind of girl that goes straight for the challenge. Following the ratios, I mixed up a base recipe and spent an entire evening adding a little bit of this and a little bit of that, subtracting a little here, a little there, baking, cooling, and tasting until I came up with my best-selling autumn cake recipe. My pumpkin spice latte cake is to die for. Trust me on that. For nearly 4 years now, I've sold my original recipe like crazy, and although it's a secret flavor not available on my website, clients still come back reminiscing about that deliciously flavorful cake. I'm so happy that I challenged myself to process my hate in a healthy way, and by the experience, I began challenging my visceral feelings on so many other subjects. And with that, I have 2 questions for you. What do you hate? And could your hate be a key to a new and exciting future? Thank you so much for listening, and check me out on Facebook, The Cake Lady Zurich, and on Instagram at The Cake Lady ZH.